Let's go.
Alright, hello. So today we are going to do another archetype video, but this one's a bit different. It isn't the archetype as in like money and those sort of things. It is about the Tera Box type decks and the Tera Box archetype itself. So let's go over this pretty quick. What exactly is the Tera Box archetype? Or this one, the Tera Box with Noctowl. So it's pretty much, you would notice a lot of the decks that run Noctowl and Tera Pokemon have these same cards, which is Hoothoots, Noctowls, Rotoms, Area Zero on a deck, Body Puffin, and sometimes Sparkling Crystal. So why is that? So firstly, it's called a box because it's sort of a toolkit, meaning that you can use it to run and hold a bunch of different decks. So just based on these cards, you can actually build your decks around them, and they also serve as an engine. They're also very modular, meaning that you could shape them or put them together very easily. So that's why they are very common, and they're also super efficient, and they usually just fit right in. So again, box, modular, fit right in, build around them, whole things, right? They also function as an engine, so they keep going. Pretty simple concept. So let's go through the pieces first, and then we'll go through the other stuff. So first things, the Noctowl Tera Box usually consists of a Tera Pokemon, because the Noctowl's effect only works when you have a Tera Pokemon. So the key piece would be a Tera Pokemon, which would depend on what your goal is. So I have all the Tera Pokemon that we have currently here on this side, and we have the actual engine on this side. The type of Tera Pokemon you're using, or which Tera Pokemon you're using, depends on the deck you're using. But these cards always be present. If you hear some clapping, I have mosquito biting now. So firstly, we have either the 78 point Noctowl or we have the 88 point Noctowl. So benefit of the 78 point Noctowl is it's searchable with Body Puffin, meaning you can bring it and you can bring Rotom, Body Puffin, and that is very sought after because Body Puffin is an all-star, right? Next to it, we have the 88 point Noctowl. So this Noctowl has Insomnia. Again, we don't have much things that give sleep in the format, but it's a bit more bulky, it takes more hits. Sometimes you want a bulkier Pokemon when you're fighting things like Dragapault, and this could take a 70 damage from even the said Rotom. It gives a bit more survivability, but it's not searchable with the Body Puffin, but you can search for it with the fan. So it's just in the eye of the beholder which one suits your deck better. So that, again, that's why it's modular. The next piece is the fan Rotom. So this has the fan call ability, which in your first turn and it's in your active, you can search your deck for 3 Pokemon, no Pokemon with under 100 hit points, and add them to you. This is a key part because this allows you to bring a Hoothoot and Noctowl because they are all on 100 and under, or if your Hoothoot, just bring Noctowls to pair with, so that guarantees during your next turn you're actually able to get off the Noctowl's effect. The Noctowl now, which is the golden boy of this deck, as you can see on the screen here, reads once per turn when you play this card to evolve from another Pokemon from your hand. Kind of started through that, but once you play it from your hand to evolve, you can, and you control a Tera Pokemon, you can search your deck for up to 2 trainer cards, reveal them, put them in your hand. Again, that's 2 whole cards. And again, it just said trainer. They didn't say supporter, they didn't say item, they didn't say stadium, just trainer. Remember, everything on an energy and Pokemon are trainer. You want an ace pack, trainer. You want an item, that's a trainer. You want a tool, trainer. You want a stadium, that's a trainer. You want a supporter, that's a trainer. So this Noctowl allows you to get any 2 cards. And remember, it's not limited. You can evolve 2 Noctowls on your turn and search for 4. So in the box decks, what this does, it allows you to actually find those trainers, supporters, and everything you need whenever you need them. As long as you can evolve it, you can find it. And let's go now to the typical items, tools, and stadium you find in this deck. So, because Noctowl needs a Tera for its effect to work, a no-brainer, they also run Area Zero under that, because that may allow you to actually have more Noctowls and more Hootoots on the bench, so you can get more searches. Also, since they pick up that space on your bench, it'll actually allow you to actually put Pokemon that you actually need to attack. I say actually a lot in the sentence. Sorry about that. I don't have another word to say right now, and we try not to have filler words. So this is just an addition. It gives you those extra spaces that's picking up by your support, right? Also, Stadium Defense. We have Body Puffin here because Body Puffin allows us to search for the Rotom. We have the Balloon because the Balloon is there for the retreat of the Noctowl or of the Rotom, or maybe even some of your Tera Pokemon or Pokemon you have running in the deck. So that allows for you to get whatever you want as your attacker in front. They also usually have Tera Orb because this allows you to search for your Tera Pokemon, to play it, to then get this Noctowl's effect. Or sometimes the Noctowl will search for the Tera Orb to get another Tera Pokemon or your Tera Pokemon that you might use as your main attacker. And this is usually in the Tera Box decks because this works for Tera Pokemon, searchable with Noctowl, and it's very, very useful. And again, you don't really have to worry about finding it because you have the Noctowl to search for it, and that's essentially it. But the other part of it is the versatility. So now we're going to go through some stuff that you may already know, but you mightn't have thought about it. So remember, we have about 3 decks that I named called box decks or Tera decks. They all have these pieces. So let's go. So we have the Evee or Flareon Tera Box, whichever you comfortable calling it, which concerns the Evee and all the evolutions, which are all Teras that we can see here. Right. So same concept. You get Evee down, you play Noctowl, Rotom, get them to hand. He searches for Tera Orb, searches for this. That allows you to use any of the Eevee's attacks and evolve them during the next turn. How the Tera Box works. They need energy. Cool. You search for Crispin, because Crispin allows you to bring two energy, basic energy from your deck to your hand. You want Crispin, you get your Crispin here. You want your boss, you want your Body Puffin, you want Carmine, any supporter at all, any trainer, any ace spec, depending on your situation, which makes it very versatile. That's why it's here. Then there was a Dragapault variant, but that fell off because you have to get Dragapault first and evolve twice before you could actually get your searches. There's a few of them knocking around, but they aren't as good. That's because they don't have immediate access to a Tera Pokemon, so you don't have immediate access to the knock. And when you're building one of these decks, that's something you need to keep in mind. The deck is only useful if you have access to Tera Pokemon quickly and efficiently. So another Tera deck that you would have encountered, and that's very, very common, would have been the Tera Box with, where is it? Tealma's Ogerpon. Or even the Ogerpon box in itself in general. So firstly, all your Ogerpon access, they are Tera Pokemon. So that allows you to always have them on the bench, to have these cards here, or keep it going. You want to look for Earth and Seal Vessel, again, evolving Noctowl, you look for it. You want to get a Master, you want to find any trainer that you need at a point in time to fit your situation for you to win the game. You want that boss to like take out the threat. You want that Crispin to have energy to attack. Again, that's why it's here, and that's why it's used so often. Even in the current bolt, the 2 versions of bolt, there's the ones with Noctowl, so that's the box variant. There's the one without it, which just runs and relies on the draw power from the Tealma's Ogerpons. But the ones that are way more consistent and have all those extra pieces and has that better card selection is the box variant. I don't want to say box like that, the box variant, and that's because they can actually search up the Seda's Vitality or the Crispin as need be, versus where you're trying to naturally join it with the Ogerpons or your Pokegear. Then we have the full Ogerpon box where they would need things at a particular time. This allows you to get it. So if you're building a deck and it needs like to find cards, usually that's the way they usually go, because again, you want to build a Pikachu deck but you're not sure you're going to get these 3 energy. It's a Tera Pokemon, you use this, you can find your Crispin, you can find your Earth and Seal Vessel, and that will guarantee you get your 3 energy. You want to try a deck with Lapras. Lapras has these 3 energy costs. How are we going to get there? Again, the box. And all of these here are viable to make box decks with, or if you have them in your deck, that you can run the box engine. And that's also the reason why a lot of these decks run this and why they are prime targets when you're fighting against these decks. Okay, if you could stop this effect, you're actually stopping them from getting their card selection and stop them from getting to all the pieces they need to get. They would have to try and draw into them, because even if you're fighting against that Evee deck and you block this with, let's say, the counter card for these box decks, which would be this here, Team Rocket Watchtower, which negates normal Pokemon. So this would actually stop all of the normal Pokemon in the deck. So no Rotom to look for the Hoothoot and Noctowls. Even if they have the Hoothoot and Noctowls, they can't use them because the effect won't activate. So pretty much shuts down the box engine. But if they don't have it, and remember you're on area 0 under that, so you could break it first and then go into your searches. So pretty good, pretty efficient. And that's essentially the Tera Box archetype, whether it is Evee Tera Box, whether it is the Ogerpon Tera Box, whether it is any Tera Box you're coming across, or you hear box or Tera, you can expect to see these cards present in it. And I just want to add this to the archetypes because we're seeing more and more of these rise as people get more cards and they have a lot more strategies in time. Or some people might want to build a deck that you like or a Tera you like, and you can't figure out how to get the deck to function effectively. You may need to just add these cards to help you find the cards you need to win the game. And just as an honorable mention, because I realized when I discussed the other Tera variants, I actually left out one. The most prominent Tera Box archetype since the beginning of the Tera Box, the Tera Pokemon and all of this was Terapagos EX, which one released was one of the cards that started this box trend because of the normal typing, and the glass flute allowed just to play Terapagos, evolve these things, look for Crispin on areas you're on the depths, you fill your bench, and because your bench is filled, that allows the Terapagos to actually do way more damage. It does 30 for each Pokemon bench, and because the areas you're on the depths actually extends the bench, it means that this could actually knock out Pokemon it otherwise couldn't. And because you could actually search for all the pieces that needed, and you don't have to stretch too much or overextend, that's what made this such an excellent engine. And over time, they realized there are other Tera Pokemon or how Tera Pokemon you can just add to the deck that just could get way more value by running this Noctowl engine. But yeah, that's basically the box engine. I'm not adding anything here because it's up to you. Whatever you want to build a box with, it's possible. I haven't seen this yet, but I'm sure there's a Ceruledge box deck somewhere, and that would be amazing. That would really be amazing. So again, thanks for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed this iteration of my Archetype series. Like, subscribe. See you all later.